segue.
Hey, speaking of podcasts,
Speaking of podcasts,
we're going to be recording a Team Cat Talks here on this stream. So I'm going to start. Well, I'll just use the bot, or I'll just start recording. Here we go. Yeah. What invec area? Too many current sessions. The fuck? Okay. Well, the VOD will work.
yeah.
So yeah. Well, hey, it's Team Cat Talks. I'm Zach, aka SwordsAndStatutes. We got Nathaniel, aka the _Ida. You'll introduce yourself, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me.
Yeah. And then also as a special guest, we have Salty Saint Nick, aka twitch.tv/Salty Saint Nick.
Howdy.
So yeah, we got a new standard legal set coming out. So you know what that means.
We got to review all the cards for curiosity.
Exactly. Or at least give them a cursory look. That way we can leave people more or less, probably less informed.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because we're doing it more for curiosity than anything. Obviously, there is a little bit of overlap between limited and curiosity, but that's not always the case.
Yeah. Kind of like how in the Midnight Hunt, limited environment, green-red kind of sucked. But there have been some decent green-red decks in the Midnight Hunt season. I don't think any of them won, but they were at least...
A game?
They didn't win a game?
I was joking.
Wow.
I have no idea.
I would have believed you.
Yeah.
And yeah, as J Fish points out here in chat, in limited you're not going to be able to get 4 shipwreck sifters.
Shipwreck sifters.
Yeah, say that 10 times fast.
Sifting through the wreck.
So, I guess initial impressions here, folks. What's your feel on Crimson Vow?
I think it looked pretty interesting. Specifically in this set, it seems like there's a lot more of a thematic with regards to like blood, with regard to the vampire card. So we might actually see some instances of potentially some artifact synergies come up. Because like the one card that we'll get to at some point that I really want to talk about is Blood Fountain.
Oh, that's what
Blood Fountain.
Yeah.
Blood
yeah,
Fountain.
And so Salty hasn't been on one of these before. We are definitely one thing what makes our reviews better than any other reviews out there is that we only do like an hour and a half review max, because ain't nobody want to talk about all them cards.
That's right.
And
if
you are interested in listening to someone talk about the cards, listen to limited resources. Don't listen to anything else.
Yeah, like don't waste your time. And honestly, I didn't even get past blue, or I got through blue on limited resources, and then I had to do other shit.
You zoned out.
Yeah. But Salty Saint Nick, you brought up these blood tokens, and specifically Blood Fountain. We go ahead and read that one out.
Is it gonna be like class where you tell someone to read it?
Yeah.
They're like, oh god,
it's me.
Okay.
I gotta read it right. That way Melissa won't think I'm dumb.
Melissa, I love you still.
Oh no. Back to reading again. Oh no, I forgot my words.
Wait, who's reading it?
I call on you, Salty. You'll get a demerit if you don't read it.
Yeah! Oh, please! I'm a good boy! Alright, Blood Fountain, 1 black. When it enters the battlefield, create a blood token, where blood token is a artifact token that says 1 tap, discard a card, sacrifice this artifact to draw a card. You can also pay 3 and a black to tap and sacrifice Blood Fountain to return 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand.
So what's your feel on here? So I'll just say, Nick, you said that this was one that had you excited.
So the specific reason I like this card a lot is that a 1 mana artifact that one produces something that it could do alongside it and has some late game value and like giving you not one but 2 creatures for 4 mana is pretty decent. It's not something that you get to see necessarily every day. So it has a lot of value on the face by making another artifact, which there's some cards in set that care about the blood tokens as well as just having artifacts on the board. And then when you don't need the extra artifact, you can sacrifice it and get back some bodies that you need. So it kind of works double duty.
I don't know if I'm completely sold on the blood tokens though. I know that that's like black red's sort of key mechanic. I'll pull up their signpost in common here in a second. But again, like if with a blood token, you have to pay mana to discard a card, sacrifice that, and then draw a card. So is that rummaging or looting?
Yeah, that's rummaging. Rummaging is discard, then draw. Looting is draw, then discard.
Yeah, so I don't know. There is a lot of graveyard synergy in this deck, or excuse me, in this format, but I think we'll have to really play with that to see how good that is. Nathaniel, where are you at?
Well, first of all, I have looked at approximately 0 spoilers. There's the cards, and this happens every time. So these are the first time me actually looking at these cards. I think Blood Fountain will be a card that people won't be able to find, like, really understand what the right amount is in your deck. I think if this card gets played, we'll probably never see a like, oh, this is the right amount. And I think just off the top of my dome, I feel like 1 is enough and 2 is good, but 2 is also 1 too many for this deck. I mean, not for this deck, but just in general. Like it's 5 mana, 5 mana, put 2 creatures in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you can, because you don't want to do that over 2 different times, 2 different turns, unless like this is in your opening hand, but then your opponent knows like what synergy or like what you're doing. So then they like have more information. So really it's 5 mana, return 2 target creatures to your graveyard to your hand. And even last in Midnight Hunt, there was Rotten Reunion, and that saw play, but it didn't see a ton of play. And Rotten Reunion is the same card. It's it's what, 2 mana or 1 mana with flashback for 2 mana?
I think you're thinking of Crawl from the Grave.
Crawl from the Grave. Yeah, Crawl from the Grave. So it's like that one is very similar, but it's at instant speed, right? Or sorcery speed, and which is Blood Fountain. You're gonna be paying 5 mana for it to get to.
But you can do it at instant speed.
I'm just like not a big fan of this card. I think that it might, like I said, it might see play. It might not. I don't know. Or if it does, there's just going to be so many trying to figure out the right amount to play.
I think a lot's going to depend on how much people are playing like self-mill style decks that are needing to get cards back from the yard. And again, that's one of those differences between Curiosity and Limited, where doing a self-mill deck in Limited, yeah, you can do that, but you're not going to be as fine-tuned. Whereas here, yeah, running 1 or 2 Blood Fountains, you can kind of hedge your bets a little bit more. But I did want to show the red-black gold card here, which sort of deals with these blood tokens. I'll go ahead and read this one. This is Blood Tithe Harvester for red and a black. When Blood Tithe Harvester enters the battlefield, create a blood token. You can tap it, sacrifice Blood Tithe Harvester. Target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is twice the number of blood tokens you control. Activate only as a sorcery. So there you're getting some of that value from those blood tokens, but I mean, it sort of spots you for a -2, -2, as is. I feel like red black is trying to be very aggressive in this set, and we did see red black be the strongest archetype in AFR. Didn't really make a splash in Midnight Hunt, so we'll see if it can kind of rise to the top again.
No, this card's trash. Guaranteed, 100%.
I don't see it can necessarily be that bad. Like, of course, it's taking an uncommon slot, but like, if there's recursion for it, it is technically a 2-mana card that they have to answer, or you're removing threats potentially repeatedly. Plus,
Like,
it's a vampire, so it's irrelevant.
I'm
Try
just
as well.
not a big fan of any card that tells your opponent what your plan is before they can deal with it. And that really kind of shows what your plan, you know? I mean, if you can beef it up, I guess, so it doesn't die. I mean, I just like, maybe it'll be a threat that people have to deal with. Like, is she or is she? Or wait, sorry, are they or are they not going to get together like in a a rom-com? Because you don't know, are they going to attack me in the face, or are they just going to sacrifice this creature to like take out my other creatures?
Well, I mean, 3/2 for 2 ain't bad. That's a really good rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. We'll see. Salty Saint Nick, you mentioned about vampires being a relevant creature type, and this came up in our Discord, which, hey, if you haven't joined the Discord, that'll be linked in the show notes or whatever.
Whoa.
But we have a sweeper at Uncommon. Nathaniel, you want to read this one?
Yeah. I feel like we might need to censor this image. Vampires Vigilance. Like, look at that. Vampire's Vigilance deals 2 damage to each non-vampire creature. Create a blood token, which maybe they should change it to that time of the month. Olivia was quick to make example of any village that refused to pay her blood tithe.
Pay your taxes or else.
Yeah, I think this is a common.
Uncommon.
Uncommon. So you can have 2 of in your deck. So you either have to have big butts or
you die.
Yeah. Or run vampires.
So the other thing about this card that's also super spicy is that some sweepers don't come in instant speed, but this one is, and it makes a blood token on top of that. So you get something to rummage with on top of the fact that at instant speed, when they go to combat, you could just wipe out a white attack.
Yeah, I can definitely see this card being a 2 of in a lot of decks in the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
the
feel
other
like
thing I
was gonna say, I feel like vampires are gonna be a favorite at least in week 1 or 2. Probably because of this.
Or there'll be players who are trying to, knowing our folks, there'll be players trying to play a deck that beats the deck that beats vampires. I would like to actually bring up a card.
Oh yeah, what?
Okay, it is card number 1, Adamant Will. If you're running white and you're running creatures, like we have seen, I think this is that protected spell of the set. Usually every set has a that protection spell, right? It was white in the other one, and in Midnight Hunt, it was humans. If a human get plus +3/+3 in indestructible, or +2/+2. This is the same mana. It gives you +2/+2 and indestructible to anything. So, yeah, this is not good against the vampire sweeper card that we just looked at. But if Adamant will be able to protect you against a lot of things. So yeah, I love this card, and I've loved it in previous sets. It's been in something
Been just in
before.
Dominaria, but yeah,
Yeah.
like when I saw this, I immediately thought of, I think it was Feet of Resistance from M21, which was which I think is better than Adamant Will, but that card got a ton of play, was really a key part of the green-white counters deck, and green-white counters is back in this set, and even though Adamant Will doesn't add a counter, there are other instants and sorceries that do. But yeah,
Yeah.
just being able to make that indestructible is going to be excellent.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much at the removal suite, so I don't know how much exile removal there is. Because I know in Midnight there was a fair amount of just black exile removal and like Eaten Alive. So definitely something to think about.
Let's see about where we got on exile. I think there maybe is only one or two.
I think so.
Well, in terms of just like key removal pieces, though, we do get back. If I can find it,
A braid.
oh, that's
We do
right,
get
yeah.
back a braid.
A braid came
Yeah.
back, as well as Hero's Downfall, which is
Oh.
so Hero's Downfall is 1 black for an instant, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Planeswalker probably not going to be that important, but a murder, it's always good.
Murder is always good. Remember that, kids.
Never forget.
And Nathaniel, you mentioned a braid here. You want to go ahead and read that?
Sure. Chooseth 1. A braid doth 3 pain to target creature, or destroy target Holy Grail. That's how I imagine people spoke at the Renaissance Festival.
Yeah.
Wait, no, I did go to the Renaissance Festival, and that's kind of how people spoke. They had some plans for most common phrases, but then if you really talk to them, they didn't know what to replace with what. I'm not talking trash about them. I'm just stating a fact. Yeah, so a braid, I think for some, I didn't play what was that set? Amonkhet?
Amonkhet, yeah.
It was so much fun.
For some reason I thought a braid was a uncommon.
It wasn't uncommon in Amonkhet.
Hour? Oh,
yeah,
it was.
Hour.
Yeah.
So it has been downshifted.
Yes.
So I mean, it kind of shows you kind of what's going on. Yeah, I think that if this is a common, it's really good for curiosity. If it wasn't a common, I don't think it would be playable.
Well, we had Cathartic Pyre in Midnight Hunt, which I think did the same thing. And that's, I don't think that saw any play.
That was uncommon.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you're right, Nathaniel, that the fact that this is common is going to really increase its share of the market.
Except Pyre was any target.
No, Pyre was not any target.
What?
Pyre was still creature. The only thing that made it better was that Cathartic Pyre let you pitch 2 cards to replace them.
So these are 2 different cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're different cards.
You lied to me, Swords.
I did.
So a braid in practice, since it's now been downshifted to common, will now fit the place that Cathartic Pyre would have taken care of. It's basically like the Dragon's Fire. It's the generic
Mhm.
deal 3 for 2 at instant speed, but also can hit artifacts.
Do you think that the artifact clause is going to be useful mainly for blood tokens or
Um,
what?
Potentially, there's a deck that was conceptualizing for standard actually that uses one of the rare artifacts that came up in the set.
Okay.
So
Well,
I
what's
think
that card?
it's the Haunted Dollhouse, I think it was.
Spooky.
Ooh, let's get kinky. Wait, did you say creepy or kinky?
I know it's just look up the Dollhouse. It might come up that way. But
Dollhouse of
yeah, of
Horrors.
horror. Yeah, Dollhouse of Horrors. So this card does some really nasty things, specifically because you get to recur your creatures as constructs that have power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts you control, and it has haste when it gets created. So the main thing that makes this relevant is that, well, if we're making so many free artifact tokens, then it's like, okay, so I'm going to make blood for the first few turns, slam this in with some protection, and play a mill strategy, get one big creature in my graveyard, reanimate it, and it has power and toughness equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and swing.
Each
So
construct you control.
oh, it's for each construct you control? Oh, I thought it was for each
Yeah.
artifact you control. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
Oh, I
so
thought that
it
was
looks like
artifact.
you sort of have to how many
Build it up.
let's see how many constructs there are in the set.
I think there's like one, if any. I think there's like a 3 mana construct that makes a blood.
Make a blood, make a blood, make a blood.
Gotta get my Scryfall better. My Scryfall skills better.
Scry better.
Yeah. But yeah,
You
like
have all the constructs.
the fact that that it's not every artifact definitely decreases that card's
Yeah.
potential value.
Yeah, I definitely misread that card, and it made me sad.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, a card that I think is very spicy.
What?
I'm all about the commons, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And aim for the head. I think. Don't laugh at me.
No, I was gonna talk about aim for the head too.
I think that aim for the head might not be that great in Crimson Vow, right? But in the Innistrad 2 weeks, in Innistrad Biggest Oozer and Finals tournament, I think that this could be a card that we talk about today and forget completely until the tournaments.
Yeah. So aim for the head is 2 and a black for sorcery. Choose one. Exile target zombie or target opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. Yeah, I'm with Nathaniel. This seems really great for the combo season or mini 2 weeks because just the fact that it exiles things just makes it so much stronger. Just because there's so much graveyard synergy, you want to just get those things all the way out.
Mm-hmm. Show them and let everyone kiss you on the lips. Like, it's so good. I just like cards that can do this. One thing that is a little interesting in this set though is that we have how many planeswalkers? 3 at 4 mana or less.
Yeah, it's Sorin, Kaya, and Chandra.
Chandra, come get your breakfast. That's what I say every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning. And so I honestly I feel like in this in Curiosity, it's not like planeswalkers are usually too expensive to play. like, yes, there's been some play, and but they're usually too expensive and don't do anything immediately,
Mhm.
right? So I think like there's the possibility that we'll see some of these, especially with Kaya doing something right away, and even Chandra. Um, but I mean, Chandra is her plus is really just planeswalkers or player, so it's
Yeah.
not that great. Um, but I feel like we might see some of these cards being played more often than what they've kind of typically been played in, which have in Curiosity, which has been more like planeswalkers are only played in control decks.
Yeah, because like the last time I can think of a planeswalker being played in a like aggro deck was again back in M21, the mono white Basri deck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can't remember the last time. Well, AFR Lolth was played,
Yeah,
but
we saw a
only in
little bit of
control
lull.
decks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I I agree that Kaya is probably it has the most potential, but I feel like Sorin, the fact that
Yeah.
it synergizes so well with the other vampire support, that'll be the one that gets the play. Chandra
The
is, I think, one of the worst planeswalkers they printed in a while.
Mm.
I don't actually agree with that.
Oh, oh,
Spec-
Oh.
oh.
so specifically, what you could do with Chandra for this is that her two plus one abilities uh do two specific functions, which is one lets you ramp and deal damage. The other one gives you card advantage. So you can, if you build the deck properly, you can build this into a red deck where you can splash another color,
Mm-hmm.
but you play primarily like a few of like that color and then gold cards. And you just don't really play, and you play specifically primarily red. Therefore, you can play all the cards she exiles off the top, and it's not really, and the exile clause doesn't really apply for the most part.
I can see where you're going there. I think a lot of that depends on the level of fixing, though,
Yeah.
and that's something we can talk about here in a second. And I see where you're going with sort of the ramp. I don't know whether or not her plus one is really going to, and this sort of gets into semantics of what's the difference between ramping and then mana acceleration. Um, because in my mind, the plus one is that's not something that you're going to have every turn. So therefore, when you have a turn when you're like, all right, I need another pip of red, you're accelerating your mana. You're not ramping up to that.
But you also have to remember the fact that compared to a ramp spell only gives you that mana and you get it permanently. But this you have the
Mhm.
option of accelerating that one turn or just getting card advantage.
True. Yeah.
So you lose the permanency of the mana that you just accumulated, but you do get the relevancy if you can choose to do something else when you don't need the acceleration instead of, oh, I ramped and
Mm-hmm.
now the ramp is done, it's over with.
One sort of this may be dumb, sort of Mondo combo here. Uh, if you get Kaya and Soren out on the field, you
Oh,
minus
Excuse
two
me.
bless you. You can minus two Kaya to get the token doubling effect, and then minus two Soren and get two vampires.
Mhm.
So
That
there's
sounds
a
like
fun deck for anyone.
a combo that just won't go off.
Oh, I'm gonna
You
take that
try to
challenge.
make happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that challenge. And also, if anyone makes that deck and wins with it, you'll get a special prize in the mail.
No, you won't.
Yeah, Salt
No,
St.
you
Nick
won't.
knows that.
Oh, do I?
One card that I want to talk about that I feel like is going to be a build around.
uh-huh.
Sorry, I zoomed out a little bit because It looks like we haven't moved on from Planeswalkers. Zone the fuck out. Anyways, can we look at Pack Sung Pup?
Pack Song? Puck?
Pack Song Pup. Like packs on a
Yeah.
pump. So obviously this is just a straightforward, hey, let's build around this card deck. I mean, let's build a deck around this card.
What's the card say? My eyes fell out.
Pack Sung Pup. Beginning of combat on your turn, if you control another wolf or werewolf, put a +1/+1 counter on Pup. Pack Sung Pup. When it dies, gain life equal to its power. So most likely on turn 3, this will be 2. If you play it on turn 1, it'll be a 2. And
if you play on turn 1, it'll be a.
If you play it on turn 1, it won't exist. But if you play it on turn 2, it'll attack on turn 3 for 2. And if it doesn't, then it's a trash card.
I think it's a trash card. Period.
What? Why?
Well, you just laid out the probable play pattern
of this card.
Yeah, and it sounds horrible. It's like, oh, I get it on 2. Maybe I get to attack for 2 on 3, and I don't know. Like the fact that it can scale is great. But I don't know. This seems like it takes too much work for not much of a payoff in the end. Gaining life is great, but
I don't.
This card
looks
like a trap.
When you're right, you're right, and I just got triggity trapped.
I think the one problem that comes up with cards like this is that, like, when you have the condition of, like, you have to have this to start pumping this, it's like, okay, so you're saying that I have to have a 1-drop wolf out, or this card is not relevant for until turn 3, and I could just remove it.
I guess I have another question.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're gonna say because you done gone and hurt my little poor soul. What about Cartographer's Survey?
Are you talking about the it's the this card? Okay. So I think this card is trash.
Cartographer Survey is 3 and a green for a sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to 2 lands from among them onto the battlefield. Tap. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. All right, so let's say, Nick, why is this trash?
This card is trash because you don't necessarily, in the top 7 cards, hit 2 lands. And there's so many other effects that you can play that just give you 2 lands guaranteed.
Yeah.
What are those cards in this set, though?
Well, it's not necessarily. There's not necessarily in this set.
And so that's the thing, is that there are 2 cards that effectively ramp you. I mean, I guess there's 3 cards. So there's Dig Up, which is a rare with Cleave. Search your library for a bracket basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. I don't think this will ever see play.
No.
Because it's a rare. I mean, yeah, you can effectively have 2 chances of pulling your rare, like by having your other rare.
Yes, someone's gonna try to play this as a wish card, kind of like Wish in AFR. And sorry, Jfish, it never worked. But that's how this will be played. It will not be done for the ramp. What was the other card?
Mulch.
Oh, Mulch I'm excited for.
I think that you have to have a very synergistic card for it with this, or deck with this. But this card is... I mean, it's not quite ramp. It's just guaranteeing you hitting your lands. But it does work really well. Like, I feel like something is gonna happen, right? I think somebody's gonna make a deck that works. Although it looks to me being very scary and very too close to the sun. Where is this other green card? Oh, Splendid Reclamation. Return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
I don't think that there's gonna be really any decks that really work on that because like most of the time in the curiosity format, once you hit like 6 lands plus, like you're basically at the point in time that like your mana is just stalling.
Mhm.
Like it's not really doing anything except like in most games I was playing with like Otherworldly Gaze, if I was like at 5 or 6 mana, I was just like not really doing anything except like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just not do anything this turn except for hold my counter magic, or if I Otherworldly Gaze and see 3 lands on top, they're getting pitched. I'm not looking at them, and I don't want to see them again.
I do think mulch is pretty great though, because the odds of getting any lands in your top 4 are extremely high. And with the fact that there's a lot of cards that either reward you for having creatures in your graveyard or reward you for exiling stuff from your graveyard, this looks like almost entirely upside. So much more so than Cartographer's Survey, which looks like probably the worst cultivate impersonator we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's just been kind of crazy. In Midnight Hunt, there wasn't a good ramp spell. I Awaken the Forgotten Realms. You pretty much had treasure, so you didn't really need it. It just seems like it's been such a long time in Curiosity that we've seen a ramp spell that actually does something good.
In two cards I wanted to hit here, sort of in the vein of, oh my gosh, in the vein of how we're gonna be dealing with our like putting stuff back in the library, putting things in the graveyard, whatever. We'll look at Scattered Thoughts. Nathaniel, will you read this one?
What? I just talked about the last 5 cards. Oh wait, this is a homunculus?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 2 of those cards in your hand and the rest in your graveyard. No.
I like this. This seems it's like it is not divination, but it is like it's similar to Behold the Multiverse, but rather than scrying, you're just kind of saying, all right, I know I don't need these, and I'm just gonna throw them in the yard and thin my deck, getting me closer to the stuff that I actually want. So in those curiosity decks that are very much driven by their rares or driven by their key uncommons, I feel like Scattered Thoughts is going to be a great piece there, and like any control deck is going to be running this.
I could see that.
Yeah, I can also see it.
I do want to. I mean, I just don't want to run out of time, so I kind of want to do my piece that I do every season, which is this set's Hush Kisser. Wait, what was that card called?
Hushbringer.
Hushbringer. This set's Hushbringer, the worst card of the set.
Do you mean like worst art or like actually worst card?
Yeah, sorry, worst artwork of the set.
Oh, Hushbringer had great art, so.
Yeah, Hushbringer had great art.
Okay, so it didn't. But and I bring this up every time. Okay, sign for you guys, the Faithless Looting of the set.
Faithless Looting of the set.
Okay, I liked Faithless Looting.
Oh my god.
No.
Okay, so Cobbed Lancer.
Cobbled Lancer? Oh, I think that's great.
Okay.
I love that art.
Can we talk real quick? So what I usually do is the worst art of the set every release, right? So I'm gonna do actually the inverse. This is the only good looking artwork in the whole set. Everything else, now listen to me, listen to me, shut up both of you. everything else looks like an artist did it, and then a second artist edited the artwork to make it look the same as everyone else's. If I just scrolling through this, all of the artwork looks like it could have been done by one person. A lot of these characters look like it. The colors are the same, and in almost every other set besides the special artwork cards, you know, every other set, every creature, every card feels unique. But in this set, everything looks like an Instagram filter that makes everything look exactly the same. All like I like can't say this enough that 9 out of 10, maybe 19 out of 20 of the cards all look like they have the same artist, and it just really grinds my gears. Like that Magic, like I mean, I I just don't know what the process is, but like if you just look at especially multicolored, bring up the multicolored cards.
I so disagree with you
Oh my
on some of
god.
this. Like I feel like this set has some of the most abstract art that they've done in years.
Okay, if it's
The
if it's abstract, that's different than everything looking exactly the same. It just all of the colors are exact like the artist could only use like, hey, if you're gonna use red, it needs to be R113355, or like you can't do it. Like it just all of these cards look exactly and there's like it's crazy because like all these names look different, but I imagine they're all actually the same person with 277 different aliases.
This is
Like
my favorite conspiracy theory.
they like it's probably like $100 a card. I don't know what it costs now. I know at one point it was $100 for artwork for a card.
Really?
At one point, yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, and that was at the beginning when the art sucked. Now a lot of these are like actual works of art.
Yeah.
So, and then one person was like, "Holy shit, I'm an artist," and they just made 277 applications with 277 different pieces of artwork and sent them to Wizards, and Wizards was like, "Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we'll do your artwork." And then they made all this artwork, which like Wandering Mind, Vile Span Spider. Oh, that's by the same exact person. Wait, nope, different names. So I don't know. I just like I thought Midnight Hunt was really cool looking, and I think this it looks all photoshopped, like trippy 3D, like great work. It's all artwork. It's all great, but it looks all the same, and that's it.
Well, hey, I appreciate your opinions, Nathaniel.
I was gonna okay, I can't say this, but I was gonna say how much does, and then there's so much Google fills in. I can't say this on stream.
Okay, all right.
I'm moving
Tell me
on.
later. I guess one card that we have to mention is because again, this is Team Cat, and we're all about curiosity. So we have Mischievous Catgeist, which is 1 in the blue for Cat Spirit. Whenever Mischievous Catgeist deals combat damage to a player, draw a card with Disturb 2. You get Cat-like Curiosity. This is like our patron card right here. It's got the Curiosity clause, where if you deal combat, you draw a card. So good stuff there. I have one card that one last card I want to talk about, but so I'll just say, Nick, you got anything else?
Trying to think. The blue-white rare that, yeah, Dorothea, the Vengeful Victim, seems like a bomb rare. That if you do not answer this card, or you just mill it and you're able to put it on something that doesn't die, can just win the game by itself. Like, it just seems so hard to deal with.
Yeah. Isn't that very similar to the language on Geist of St. Traft?
Yeah, the only difference is that the invocation, the one before, were angels. This is a spirit token.
Oh, so it'll proc all that too. Wow.
So proc anything that's spirit related. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, blue white has been quite good in the Midnight Hunt season, so expecting that to maintain its position.
And if you also look at Dorothea, it's a 2-mana 4/4 with flying.
Yeah. But whenever it attacks or blocks, you gotta sacrifice at the end of combat. So
Yeah.
but still.
The thing that's interesting about this card is that you can do a few different things with it. So if we're combining the two sets, you can Geist Wave it back to your hand, draw a card before it sacrifices itself, to then put it back into play. So you get
Oh
to
my
keep it. It doesn't
God.
even go to the graveyard. And then you just get a 4/4 body that can then block.
Wow. There's the Mondo combo right there.
Mondo combo.
Wow. Well, I have what I believe is going to be the top of the list of probably gonna get banned. Avabrook Caretaker, 4 green for human werewolf with hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on another target creature you control. It's a 4/4, and then has Daybound. Its night version is Hollow Hinge Huntmaster. It has hexproof. Other permanents you control have hexproof. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. This is just a fucking house. If you can't remove this, or rather, if you can't counter this, you're done.
Okay, so there's 2 things about this card that are ways to get around the hexproof. So the people in the Terrible Triad that I'm a part of have always been down on combat tricks. This card dies so easily to combat tricks. We have Blade Brand. You swing it, if they ever block with this card, it dies.
Is Blade Brand back in Crimson Vow?
No, it's not. It's not back in Vow.
Oh my God! Welcome, newbie, to how to
But the main thing to keep in mind with regards to cards like this is that you keep in mind that, okay, so I can't target this thing. You just have to keep in mind that you're either doing combat tricks or you're making sure that you have creatures with Death Touch so you can keep back so they can't swing with this card.
There are a few creatures with Death Touch. There's even the creature that gives a creature Death Touch. Okay. I think it's 2 words. Death Touch.
No,
there we go.
Damn it.
Nope, that didn't work either.
Yeah, it did. Oh wait, no, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, I didn't find anything.
No.
Keep going. Oh, alphabetical. Yeah, it's like pulling up a lot of shit.
Bramble Armor's back, in case you wanted that.
Yeah, it saw so much play, let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, okay. There was one other blue-white card that I did see on this. Go back down. I think it was another 2-color card. I think it was Brine. Yeah, Brine Comber. Yeah. When enters the battlefield, becomes the target of an aura spell. Make a 1/1 with flying.
Yeah, and then its
That's
aura
the Transformer
form
sound.
also gives you a 1/1 flyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that this thing makes tokens that have evasion. Boom.
Man,
Mind blown.
Wow.
I have some news.
What?
And this is according to 2013, so it's a little outdated. Designing one Magic the Gathering card is $400 to $600. So if you get commissioned, it's $400 to $600. But if you're an established artist, they've been reported to making $1,200 to $1,500 a Magic card. Bam.
Wow.
I hope everyone who made this set got $100 or exposure, like they're paid in exposure.
That's the best payment? Not really. It's a scam.
Scam.
y'all were asking about Death Touch creatures. There are 8 cards that mention Death Touch, and only only like 4 of them really have it.
Yeah.
So not a big Death Touch suite.
I mean, that's usually how things go. I feel like Toxic Scorpion though is pretty sweet. Giving your other giving one another creature Death Touch. I think that's pretty sweet. And I wonder, like, besides Death Touch, another way to get around creatures kind of is Flash. Do we have any flashers in the audience?
I don't know if there's any cards.
Hero Flasher.
Flasher.
There's there's Hullbreaker Horror.
Yeah,
and
all the Flash stuff is at rare.
Really expensive.
Yeah. There are 2 Flash auras, but I don't think those are going to have much of an effect. Cradle of Safety, maybe. That's 1 in a blue Flash enchant creature you control. When it ETBs, enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn, and then enchanted creature gets +1/+1.
That's kind of like that's kind of scary because we have Cradle of Safety and we have Adamant Will. Blue white. That, oh my god. This is gonna be possibly could be a pretty control-y format.
Well, that sounds like the blue white aggro deck is something that the other member of Team Cat, Mana Sultan, always excels at.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure he will enjoy dabbling with that.
I guess, have we talked about what counterspells are in this format?
I don't think we have. And there are some pretty good ones.
There's the one that counters cards that you cast from outside your hand for 1. And then you can pay 2 other ones to make it counter any spell.
Yeah, that is Wash Away. I don't think that's kind of edge casey. Because the only thing that's going to be cast from not the owner's hand is going to be stuff from like Disturb.
Mm-hmm. We also have Syncopate.
Syncopate being back is excellent.
I just saw that because I have not looked at any of the cards.
Yeah,
I love Syncopate so much.
Like Syncopate was a card that was in standard when I first started playing, and I like didn't fully grasp how good it was until I got something countered by it at an FNM, and I was like, holy shit, this is great. And so I look forward to seeing people abuse this in whatever control decks they build.
I'm not the biggest fan of the card, but it does have like this certain spot in my heart where at my FNM was a pretty chill FNM, and there was like 1 or 2 players who brought meta decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone was bringing the most janky decks. There'd be 1 or 2 players who brought meta decks or like store meta decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because they just saw it as a way to get like 5 packs of Magic for $5 kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm just gonna get a bunch of packs of Magic. One day, I was running Niv Mizzet Control, which was just 4 Syncopates, 4 Devious Cover-Ups, 4 Electro-Size, the
Electrolyze.
Electrolyze, and then 4 of another thing. This was like Is It Dragons before Is It Dragons was like a thing. And I game number 1, match 1, I played one of the store winners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just won every week, crushed it, blah blah blah. And he goes turn 1, go. I say okay, and I put my land down, and then he plays a creature or some shit, and then for the next 7 turns, I counter every single spell he had. And he got so mad that he went home sick.
Okay.
And I was just like, my jank deck won.
Oh my God.
So, and Syncopate being one of those cards, because the thing about Syncopate and I feel like might see a Syncopate deck next in the final 2 weeks is that it runs very well with Devious Cover Up.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not a long game kind of card, but there's definitely a lot of things, and that may be what we want to talk about.
I actually disagree with you. I think that Syncopate is great any point of the game because it really can go long. And like if your opponent taps out for like rather if they tap out, you can just cast this for 2 and then they're done. I think that Syncopate plus Devious Cover Up is going to be a really rough meta for folks to deal with, because if you leave up 4 mana, 2 of which are blue, you don't know what's coming at you. And I really look forward to seeing how people work around that. But you were saying, like, looking at long game stuff, and I wanted to talk about 2 sweepers that are at rare, but we did see sweepers being played this season with just the white one, Vanquish the Horde.
Vanquish the Horde.
Yeah, Banquet the Horde. So we got Path of Peril at 1 black, but has cleave for 4 white. Destroy all creatures, or for cleave with mana value. Or how the fuck do you read these?
Yeah.
So you can pay 3 to destroy all creatures with mana value 2 or less, or cleave it to destroy all creatures. So not bad. And then there's also by invitation only. I actually like this a bit better. 3 white. Choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. This seems great.
Okay. I think this card is it great or is it not great?
I think it's pretty good, specifically because you could put it to a circumstance of, say you have more creatures than your opponent's creatures, you just put up to their number of creatures or the number you're willing to sacrifice.
Oh. Okay. I can see that. See, this is where I want you guys at my pre-release, because I'll just be like, yo, this card's fucking garbage. And they're like, wait, no, this is how you play the card. I'm like, oh, gotcha. Like, I did a 2-head giant once. This is how this is. I mean, I'm sure you know this is how our talking goes, Salty saying that. But I did a 2-headed giant, and then there was Golos, I think, or a card like Golos, and me and my homie got it, and we're like, hell yeah! And then we played, and then like every time we activated its ability, or it's one of those cards, the players were like, you did that in the wrong order, and we're like, oh, we'll get it. and then like, you know, like 3 games later, the last round, we'd be like Golos activate, and they'd be like, no, that's not what you were supposed to do, like you did it wrong. So yeah, I really need one of you guys to come to my pre-release.
Aw. Well, do we have any? Let's I guess wrap up with this. What so for the past 2 sets, I think it's been pretty clear that black in AFR, and then probably blue in Midnight Hunt were the strongest colors.
Yeah, Toaster. I saw the Ratchet Bomb kills on 0. Sorry.
What is
That was a lot of words in a little little sentence.
what's our feel on the best color from the set?
With regards to some of the green threats that I've seen, especially that 6-mana one that basically says, I hope you have specific cards because you're not killing me otherwise. That spreads to your entire board. Green seems pretty good. It also seems to have a bunch of fueling for a bunch of different archetypes. So I'm feeling green might actually have a stay-in for this. Also, I trophied again, so
Nice.
let's go. Let's go.
I think, like, it's hard for me to say because here's the thing: is I love cards like Adamant Will, right? Like knowing that there's an Adamant Will, which I think we mentioned there's not a lot of exiling effects, so you pretty much keep your creature alive. And then there's the blue one. I think that white blue is going to be really fun. But I think just the fact that you have Adamant Will, like I will overdraft this card every single time. I did it with Flare of Faith. In Midnight Hunt, I didn't actually play any white decks during Midnight Hunt. If I, in curiosity, didn't make any decks, but if I did have, I would have done that. But I think like the crazy thing for me, right, with this set, in the whole time we've been talking, I've just been like, oh, I honestly can't wait for the combined season because zombies were okay in Midnight Hunt, and then there's just a lot better zombies.
Oh, so much better zombies in here.
In this set.
Yeah.
And then there's like werewolves were all right,
and then
but
they got
then
better.
like combination better. Vampires were pretty bad, and now there are a ton of vampires.
Yeah.
But then there's also spirits. Like it seems like they made a set that was too big and they split it in half.
Yeah.
Which is could have been the case.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it's gonna be an exciting set. Like Crimson Vow's gonna be an exciting 5 seasons. Are your eyes okay, buddy?
Yeah, I thought I didn't know Retrieve was reprinted.
Oh.
Yeah, Retrieve was
or it is first printed. I thought I was thinking of another card. It's just an R.
Revive.
Revival. Maybe.
Or something. Rebirth.
It's a black card. It's like one. It puts a card back in your hand.
Whatever. Have you ever seen the movie Rebirth?
Rebirth?
Yeah.
Who's it got?
We'll talk about it after.
Okay. So I'll just say, Nick, I gotta agree with you. I think that green is very well positioned. I also agree that blue white seems very pushed. We saw a ton of tempo play in the Midnight Hunt season, and I think we will continue to see that. It'll be very interesting to see how folks, after 6 weeks of dealing with tempo, figure out a way to adjust finally. But
I think the one thing that is of note for specifically how they do it in this set is that in the other set you lost the creature, then you get it back as a spirit. In this, you get the spirit and then you get it back as an aura. So now the tempo play is more of you need to protect your creatures or you're not getting the recursion now. Because you have to put it on something or you're not getting any value.
Well, Well, folks, this has been fun. Again, this has been Team Cat Talks. I'm Zach with Swords and Statutes, a twitch.tv/swordsandstatutes. We got Nathaniel, twitch.tv/the_ita. And Salty St. Nick, I don't actually know your real name, but I'm assuming it's Nicholas.
Yeah.
And they are at twitch.tv/Salty St. Nick. You can also check us out at our award-nominated website, curiositymtg.com, and check out our YouTube. That'll be linked below as well. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, you're dead to us. And join our Discord, because it's free, and that's where we've been hanging out, doing some brews around stuff. So, yeah.
Plus, if you want to play in the tournaments, that's how you play in the tournaments.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit! We were gonna give away the set booster box.
Yeah, I was about to remind you guys. I was like, wait, isn't that tonight? Isn't that what I was supposed to be attending later tonight?
Well, that'll be later.
Well, we will do it right after this video ends.
Yeah. Let me. Yeah. So also we're just heads up for the Vow season. We're gonna be giving away a box of cards. Another set box, right, Nathaniel?
Set booster box.
Set booster box of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty for people who play. So come play, you get your raffle tickets, and it'll be great. But yeah, the Crimson Vow season starts on November 20th. Come check us out in the Discord to get everything set up there. All right, this has been Team Cat Talks. Blah. There's the end of the podcast.